WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
So, Bethany, I want to hit you with a quick lightning round before we get started.
Oh, God. Okay.
Are you ready?
I mean, no, I'm not ready. I'm terrible under pressure, but let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Funniest neighborhood in Boston.
Oh, gosh. I mean, on many levels, Dorchester.
Best comedian to ever come out of Boston.
Oh, gosh. That's also tough. There's a lot. There's Sam J, Patrice O'Neill. Okay, we'll take Sam J.
Best comedic pairing.
Cannabis products and my friends.
Oh, I mean.
Okay, wait.
That's a nice wholesome one.
All right.
Yeah,
did you like that one? Okay.
Cute.
Or did you mean people, like two people that are good at comedy together?
No. We'll accept that. We'll accept that because we were not specific with the question, which is perfect. Friends and we go perfect together. I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Comic. All right, Bethany Van Delft, Boston comedian.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is really great.
So, Bethany, you're hosting a sold-out event tonight at City Space, and it's called Ones to Watch Comedy Festival, and it features 4 up-and-coming comedians making a name for themselves here in New England. And while it may be a little late for folks to get tickets if they haven't already, we wanted to take this moment with you to talk about comedy here in Boston. And so, broadly speaking, how would you describe the comedy scene here in Boston in 2025?
It's awesome. There are so many different individual producers. There's producing crews. There's a new comedy club. There's 2 new comedy clubs. They're the comedy clubs that have been around for a while.
So basically, you would say right now, Boston comedy is having a renaissance.
Hot. It is hot.
Okay,
yes.
I love that. Now, having said that, I want to take a step back and learn a little bit more about you. Because you and I, we've talked, we've chatted, but I never got a chance to really get in your business too much. You know?
Oh, thank goodness. I like that you wait till there's mics in front of us.
Mics and the camera, we're going to do it all. But seriously, though, I guess I would just love to know about your beginnings in comedy. When did you realize you were funny?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I knew I was funny always, but I did not know that meant I could do comedy. I never thought that I could do comedy myself. I just come from a very funny family, and I would say I'm the least funny of everybody in my family, but my father's super funny. To the point that it's probably troubling, and we talk about it in therapy because he couldn't be serious about anything at all. But he introduced us, he's an older white gentleman, and he introduced us to like the Marx Brothers and W.C. Fields and Mae West.
Old school.
And my mom's a young, old school with that specific timing and the gestures and the facial, So I always knew I was funny, but I loved comedy so much, but I was so shy, like debilitatingly shy. If it were now, I would have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. But back then, it's just like, she's shy or she's weird or whatever. Or leave her alone, let her stay under the table. She'll come out. She'll be fine. She'll come out when she's hungry. But because of that, I just didn't ever believe I could get on a stage and do comedy or anything like that.
But do you think your shyness gave you this advantage to kind of sit back and observe things that you could make a joke out of,
That's a really good way of looking at it. I didn't look at that it was my shyness that gave me that, because you do have to sit back and observe to do comedy, really. But I didn't ever think of it that way. Thank you for that. That my inability...
Bill's in the mail.
Yeah.
This therapy session.
What's your copay?
Common therapy.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. But yeah, I was always in a corner. Not unhappy in a corner, but in a corner. Like watching what was going on and noticing every single little thing. And then when I got back to my safe people, at home, then I would have like all these stories
Yep.
to tell and all these, crazy act outs and everything. So yeah, I guess that is like a superpower that I didn't realize came from that.
If you ever see a kid having a complete meltdown in public, look for the grown-up nearby, okay? If the grown-up nearby has a genuine look of concern on their face and they're really trying to help this kid calm down, that is a kidnapper. If you see a kid having a total meltdown and the grown-up nearby is just staring into a light bulb, murmuring, that's a parent, okay? That's a parent. That kid is safe. You can go on about your day. Or you could do a kindness and kidnap that kid and give the parent a break.
Bethany, I want to ask you about COVID because we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the shutdowns that happened in 2020. And I would love to know, how did COVID affect the comedy scene here?
I mean, the most obvious thing is that comedy is live, so there were no live shows. Comedians pivoted real quick, though, and there were all kinds of shows online. There were comedians were doing shows on Twitch, on Zoom. I had a live Instagram live show, a weekly. It was obviously scary to be living through a pandemic, but I thought it was so cool seeing the way all of these creative people creatively found a solution to doing what they do. And it kind of changed the way we performed because we were used to performing for a live crowd and getting that immediate feedback. But we had to figure out real quick, if you're doing a Zoom show or a Twitch show, how to perform for people you're looking at on a screen. Maybe somebody is like lying sideways in the dark, petting their cat. How do you perform to that person, So for me, it was interesting to try to find new ways to accomplish the goal of making people laugh. And then when we did the Instagram live show, you couldn't see anybody. You literally were just performing into your phone, and that was it. So I didn't love it, and I really was happy to get back to live comedy, but I loved trying to figure out how to do this in this way.
And it's just like broader, what are you seeing post-COVID in the comedy scene now from not only comedians, but also audiences, venues, etc.? Like, what's something that has changed it? What is something that has changed post-COVID? Change it.
That feels like very ye olde English. Something that has changed it.
I can't believe I did that.
I don't know. I mean, do you feel this way? 5 years out of the pandemic feels like it was 25 years ago.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to remember what audiences were like before, but I can tell you people are very into comedy right now. The audiences are super into it. I do find that they are looking for crowd work. And one thing is they think that they're helping the show when they shout something out. Like they think they're supporting the comedian, like, because they're shouting something out and they're giving them this opportunity to do crowd work. But not every comic wants to do crowd work, and people shouting things out definitely has great potential to derail the show. So that's one thing that's different. But for the most part, people are extremely happy to be out, very supportive. Most audiences want you to do well. So even if somebody's bombing, they're not like, get off the stage, jerk. They're like, oh, you got this. Like supportive.
Yeah. It's like they're so happy that, because I say that, we have not fully dealt with the aftermath of COVID. We're still like, I think we're still processing that. There's still stuff we're holding on to.
We just moved right on. We're not even trying to address that. Like if there were a need for collective therapy after the pandemic and everything that happened in the pandemic and after, we just all moved on. That's basically it.
So maybe these comedy events, these nights out, for people are like some of that therapy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, shows are selling out all over the place, that's different than
Yeah.
before. The independent shows, like the independently produced shows, were great. They were really great, but they weren't necessarily selling out. And I would say most of the independent shows that I'm doing now are sold out.
We're going to take a quick break. But when we get back, I want to get some recommendations for you for folks who are in the city and who want to get to know the Boston comedy scene. So we'll be right back. And we're back with comedian Bethany Van Delft. So, Bethany, before we let you go,
Yes.
we want to get some recs from you for the people listening who may want to get to know Boston's comedy scene a little bit. So, I'm looking for 3 recommendations. First, I want to know, who is someone coming up right now that you're really enjoying?
Carolina Montesquieu.
That was quick.
I've been on a lot of shows with her lately. And she's been around for a little while, not too long. But lately I've been on a lot of shows with her, and she's just got all of it. She's got the presence. She is deeply present in the room. She's got fantastic material that she is able to just pull back into the moment at any time. And her performance and her personality is just, it's amazing. And she's a Latina, an Afro-Latina, which
Nice.
I just love. I love seeing all of us thrive.
I had to do some shows in my hometown recently. I live in northeastern Mass, basically like in New Hampshire, right? No, not quite Lawrence. I'm not that ghetto. No. I'm not gonna lie. If you know, Lawrence is like another Dominican Republic. It's Washington Heights, apparently Hampstead, and Lawrence. Right? I'm from Haverhill. We left Lawrence. It's like 5 minutes away. It's all white people. That's why I talk like this.
For this one, I want a venue. I know you mentioned some venues earlier, but give us a venue for folks to check out.
Goof's Comedy Club on McGrath Highway in Somerville. And this place has all of the elements of that just really support comedy. The room is small, it's dark, the ceilings are low, where the audience is like all kind of squeezed together, and the comedians that they're getting are just great people that aren't headlining the Wilbur yet, but they will be in like a couple of years. They're passing through this club, and the staff is amazing. The owners of the club are comedians themselves, and they were one of the producers of these like cool independent shows, and they went all in and they got this club, and it's sold out. Most shows there are sold out.
And that's where you go to see somebody right before they blow up.
Yeah, and local people, lots of local people that are really working hard and are really honing their craft. It's a good mix. It's a good mix of people. Good drinks, good food too.
And finally, what's a regular event that people can go to see some good comedy?
So regular event, there are these groups of producers that produce comedy shows. One is Men in Comedy. I love what they're doing. It's all women. And it's called Men in Comedy. I mean, that right there should tell you that they're very silly. But they're doing very creative, cool things, not just stand-up. They just had a bad art auction. There's 3 or 4 of them that produced the show. One of the producers, Elle Kennedy, will be at Ones to Watch.
Oh, yeah.
They're just real creative. They're having so much fun doing comedy, which is what I like to see. Before the pandemic, being weird was very encouraged. So whatever you think is funny, whatever weird thing you were doing was really encouraged to develop that. And then post-pandemic, I would say the focus really has been on stand-up. And this producing group, Men in Comedy, they're just having fun and they're just doing things that make them laugh. And it's making everybody laugh. And then the other, if you're kind of new to comedy and you want like tried and true, I'd say the Don't Tell pop-up shows are a great way to go. And there you have to sign up through Don't Tell. They'll send you an email the day of the show, let you know the address. And you'll see lots of excellent local comedians. And again, lots of people coming through from out of town because there are Don't Tells all over the country. So you'll see people from Los Angeles and from Chicago and New York.
Bethany, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming through to the comment to talk to us. This has been really great.
Thank you for having me. I love
Thank
your
you for these
show,
recs.
and I'm excited to be on it, to be a guest on your show. You're doing a bang up job.
Thank you. I'm sorry that it took so long.
I didn't take long. This is the right time. We all do the things at the right time.
That's comedian Bethany Van Delft. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common, which is produced by myself and Franny Monahan. It's mixed by Marquise Neal, and it's edited by Yasmin Amer. And our theme music is Me from Hisu. And from the newsroom of WBUR, I'm your host, Daryl C. Murphy. I will talk to you next week.